So yesterday we got news that the development team at Massive was listening to the community feedback concerning changes in the PTS, and then we got word this morning that they had just shut down the PTS. Okay, what's going on, everybody? It's LtBuzzLitebeer, and welcome back to my YouTube channel. Now, the PTS being taken offline was not what I had planned for today's video, and I am determined to not make it the topic of discussion. Instead, I'm going to be taking off my floaties, putting on my goggles, and diving into the deep end of this exotic debate. And if you're just sitting there clueless, you're going to know pretty soon. Thanks again for all the continued support. Right now, the channel is in one of those steep vertical climbs for interaction, and I have you to thank for it. In case you aren't yet a sub, please take a moment to smash that big, beautiful subscribe button, and while you're at it, take a few seconds more to ring the notifications bell and set your alerts to receive all, because without that step, YouTube will only occasionally send you my latest upload alerts. Lots to consider on both sides of today's discussion, so let's talk exotics in the general loot pool. You know how they always say there's always two sides to any argument? Well, today we've actually got a third wheel, of which I'm going to break this all down for you. Now, the topic for discussion today is, of course, this hotly contested, hotly debated subject right now in the Division community of adding these three new exotics into the Dark Zone drops. Of course, we're speaking about the Eagle Bearer, the Bighorn, and the Ravenous. And I actually had to look up these dates, but just to refresh your memory here, the Eagle Bearer was originally and is still a part of the Dark Hours raid, which, by the way, was introduced back on May the 16th, 2019. The Bighorn, which I mistakenly spoke on one of my previous videos that it was only available through completing Roosevelt Legendary, is actually obtained via Legendary Strongholds. I just happen to have received mine from Roosevelt Legendary. And then, of course, we have the Ravenous, which was introduced and is still part of the Iron Horse raid, which was introduced, like I said, into the game June 30th, 2020. So we've got a bit of history with these three weapons. We've got a bit of history with the content that these three weapons are currently gated behind. And of course, we understand the mechanics and what an agent will have to go through with this content in order to get a chance, not a guarantee, to get a chance to get one of these three exotics to drop. So let's just wade right into the deep end here. Let's take a look at the three sides of this argument. We're going to start off with the most neutral side here. This is the third wheel, and honestly, this is where I fall, and I think a lot of dedicated Division community members fall within this third wheel group. I mean, I look at it all. I don't get too heated. I don't take this side or that side. I just kind of stay in the middle. And even though I have completed all the raids, I've earned my EB, I've earned my Ravenous, I've completed all the legendaries, I have all the White Tusk cosmetic vanity items, I earned my Bighorn, like I said, on Roosevelt. But when I look at this game that's almost 4 years old, it's past its prime in many regards. Anytime I look at any decisions or changes being made to the game, ultimately what I'm looking at is the health of the game. And that is the ultimate deciding factor for anything moving forwards. I want to see changes made within the game that are going to promote the most players engaging with the game as possible and keeping those players engaged. Those are the two things. Let's get as many people as we can and let's keep them here. Because if you can do those two things, then you can start to drum up more support for the game. We can start to get more content, etc., etc. You've got to have the players to go and ask for the bucks to make the content. You know what I mean? So let's take a look at what we've already got within the Division 2. This is just a generalized section here. We've already got optimization. Optimization should have been the signal for many players to recognize, like the signal flare up into the air at the end of Season 4. Remember, that was the Fei Lao manhunt. Optimization is kind of this opening up the gates and saying, hey, listen, this is all we've got for the game. Enjoy it. We're gone. okay? Because remember when we got optimization within the Division 1, that was it. When we got optimization, we got recal, we could recal, 2 attributes on our gear. That was to allow us to min-max our builds and take them to that absolute last degree so we could enjoy the game until they came out with Div 2. Well, optimization came, in late 2020. We're now into 2023, so they had to extend it with expertise. So they're artificially trying to extend the life of the game. Well, here's another way you can do it, by just opening up all of these exotics into the general loot pool. Now, if it happens, I'd be happy for the game. If it doesn't happen, I'm still gonna be happy. I personally believe it's just time to open it all up. I got tagged in yesterday by Patrick Wolf over on Twitter, kind of asking my position on it all, and I sounded it off. I truly believe it's time to just take all the guardrails off the road, just let anyone get anything at any time. And personally, I think the loot drop chances need to be buffed across the board. But anyway, that's just my feeling on it all. I think the Nemesis needs to be in there. You got Ridgeway's Pride, which was a series of, I believe, things you had to complete in the summit. Just throw it in there. I know that the Lady Death SMG was exclusive to something like Wony. Just throw it all in there. Everything, anytime, any place. I could kill a red bar out in the open world and I could get, I don't know, a Regulus to drop. I look at this and I'm like, why are we still holding on to these old regulations that we had within the game? So you've got a general idea of where I stand. Call me a third wheel, call me meh. If it happens, it happens. If it doesn't, it doesn't. I look at things more from a 30,000 foot view. I want to see the health of the game improve, and I think the health of the game will improve if all exotics are in the general loot pool and are capable of dropping at any time, anywhere, outside of the dark zone, inside the dark zone, it doesn't matter. Anyway, let's take a look at this second side though, and this is a very vocal side. This is the strongly opposed group, and these people are vocal. This group feels that none of these content exclusive exotics should be placed out in the open, as in the dark zone general loot pool. Although I don't know how open, quote unquote, that setting will be. I mean, we are talking about the dark zone here, and we are talking about these 3 new exotics are going to be considered contaminated loot. You've still got to get one to drop, and I tested this on the PTS. I couldn't get one to drop, so expect those loot drop chances to be extraordinarily low. And then it's contaminated loot, so then it's in your fanny pack. Now you got to set off the flare. You've got to basically ring the dinner bell for anyone that wants to come to your extraction. You've got to fight and, basically get your loot out of there, old DZ style. So I still think people, if these changes happen, if they get an EB, let's say, to drop, it's still going to be a shootout to try and get that thing out of there. So anyway, I put out a poll this morning over on my channel and my community tab asking, of the 3 exotics, which do you have a problem with being added to the, the general dark zone loot drop pool? And although the Eagle Bearer is leading, which I kind of expected, the most votes, which is well into the 50% range, is people have a problem with all of them being added into the general loot pool. And check this out, because this is a valid point here. The common argument is based on the it's not fair side to this story. As in, these people are saying, I had to squad up. I had to learn the mechanics of the raid or slog through those damn legendaries. Therefore, everyone should have to endure what I have had to endure. As in, hey, I had to spend 20 hours, 30 hours, 40 hours finally getting this to drop. If I had to do it, it's not fair that they have a chance just to go in there and it could just drop immediately, which is a valid point. But if you look at this side of it, it isn't a question of, hey, I don't want someone to have that raid exclusive weapon because it is crazy powerful, like, for anyone that got it, the Eagle Bearer version 1. These raid exclusive exotics aren't these uber powerful weapons anymore. For these people, it's just all about justice. Not that this happened directly to me, but I can understand this pain. I actually attended ETF with a player that had, I think it was something like 100 raids before he ever got the Eagle Bearer to drop. It's kind of this mentality of, hey, if you can't handle the heat, get out of the pot. As in, if you can't handle a raid, if you can't handle a legendary mission, then you don't deserve to get these raid or legendary exclusive exotics to be in your cache. Okay, so we've taken a look at two sides of the argument. Now let's add in the third, and this is the strongly for the proposed changes. And I took a look at this group. This is many solo players. These are players that just don't have the time and or the patience to squad up with 3 or 7 randoms, depending on the content, and then make it all the way to the end of the mission for a chance to earn the exotic. In this group, you've got a bunch of newer players. You got players that are very time sensitive, time limited, you know what I mean? Players that just don't want to get social on the mic. There are many times that I just want to play solo. I don't want to talk to people. I'm gaming. I just want to unplug. I don't want this extra pressure of trying to communicate with people. You know, I can relate to that. These are people that just want a chance to complete their inventories, the trophy wall and the boo. And here, if these changes are added into the dark zone, and if they can get it to drop, and if they can actually get it extracted, there's a bunch of ifs. Remember, it is contaminated loot. Well, I mean, if they can manage to get through all of those what ifs, then whatever this exotic is going to be theirs for all time. They can hang it up on their wall and, you know, they feel good about it. So there's the 3 sides to this argument, and I think all of them have valid points. I could also strongly oppose all 3 sides of this argument. But anyway, just a quick recap. Remember, you've got the third wheelers, you've got the strongly opposed, no, I believe you have to go do this exclusive content to get this exclusive exotic. And then you've got those that are strongly for the idea, that don't want to squad up. They don't want to have the hassle of speaking on a mic to other people they're not comfortable speaking with, and they'd rather take their chances in the dark zone and see if they can actually get this loot extracted. But here's the question, and I really want your feedback on this one. For anyone that's very hardcore, strongly opposed to this, let me ask you this. Are you taking on the raids, even now, with how long they have been live? Are you attempting this content for the content, or are you attempting this content for the loot? And again, leave me your feedback in the comment section below, because I often see raiding clans and groups advertising not only that they will carry new agents through the raids or even the legendaries, but they will also bring in players that don't have these weapons at the very end of the raids and give them the opportunity to open the final cache for a chance to get the EB or Ravenous to drop without completing the raid itself. So again, is this about the thrill of the competition, the content, the raids, the legendary, or is this a mentality of, okay, I'm gonna attempt the raid, but the moment I get that EB or Ravenous, I am never playing this stupid thing ever again? And in the end, I really look forward to anyone that wants to honestly answer the question down in the comment section below. Are you taking on the raids for the content, for the challenge, for the ability to learn all those different maneuvers, all the different spots and the callouts? Are you taking on the raids for that? Or are you just taking them on for that chance to get the Eagle Bearer, for that chance to get the Ravenous? You know what I mean? Is it the content or is it the loot? Because I think for anyone out there arguing, well, if you take the exotics out of the raids, nobody's going to play the raids, then really what you're saying is the content really isn't worth it. The only reason you're doing it is for these content exclusive exotics. Anyway, I look forward to reading feedback on that one. Remember to smash that big, beautiful subscribe button, and while you're at it, ring the notifications bell to receive my latest upload alerts. If you could also take a few seconds more to rate and or share this video, it would be greatly appreciated. Remember, you can find and follow me over on Twitch, Twitter, and of course in my open community Discord server, which supports an active and engaged Division community for not only the OG game, but for number 2. Links to all my socials can be found in the video description and pinned comments below. Until the next one, this is LtBuzzLitebeer, signing off.